Welcome to the Conversation Corner. I'm glad you're here tonight. If you haven't been to the Conversation Corner before, this is my favorite corner in my office. It is where I start every day. I start every day here in the morning with my morning routine here in the corner. This is at my absolute favorite chair in my office. It's where I do a lot of thinking, a lot of reading, a lot of watching TV. So this is my favorite corner. And so I just want to invite you in this evening that you join me in my favorite corner as we have a little conversation today about non-negotiables. First of all, what is a non-negotiable? You know, we might hear that term sometimes, but we kind of wonder, what is a non-negotiable? So a non-negotiable is something that it's a habit that we do regardless of all other conditions. So it's really something that we won't compromise on, and we can't sacrifice. It is something that we must have, and so why do we need non-negotiables? We need non-negotiables because that is what's going to help us create long-term success. So think of this: what is a non-negotiable? Wow, I rated above your workout. That's awesome, Linda. Thank you. Thank you for joining the corner. So what's an example of a non-negotiable? Non-negotiable is, would you leave the house? Would you get up, wake up in the morning, leave the house without brushing your teeth? I would hope, and I think most of us would say no. Before we leave the house, we're going to brush our teeth. So that would be a non-negotiable. That's something that has to happen. It doesn't matter if you went to bed an hour before you got up, if you had slept all night, maybe you didn't even go to bed. You came home, changed clothes, you left, but you are going to brush your teeth, and that is a non-negotiable. That's an example of a non-negotiable. We have a lot of different non-negotiables in our life. One might be exercise. One might be not eating a certain food. One might be a daily devotional. One might be going to church. So we have a lot of non-negotiables, but we need to have those non-negotiables. We need to create those non-negotiables for long-term success because there's just some things that we can't be wishy-washy on. Some things that we can't go, oh, I'll let that go, or I'll compromise on this. But sometimes when we compromise on those things, then we compromise our success. And when we have a clear vision of where we want to go, we can't compromise that. We're not willing to sacrifice those things because we want that success more. So we're going to talk this evening. We're going to have a little conversation about what are some things you can do to create those non-negotiables. First of all, we have to get clear. The first thing we have to do is get clear. So in other words, we have to brainstorm a little bit. What's important? For me, one of my non-negotiables is in the morning, I'm going to exercise. It doesn't matter if I had a bad night's sleep. It doesn't matter if I had a great night's sleep. It doesn't matter really if it's a holiday. It doesn't really matter what's going on. Doesn't matter if I'm about to go on vacation, a trip. Doesn't matter if I have to work that day, if it's the weekend. Exercise for me is a non-negotiable. It has to happen in the morning to start my day. If we travel, it's a non-negotiable. It has to happen. Sometimes the places we go, the hotels we stay at, part of where we stay and where we go is what kind of facilities do they have that I can utilize. So that's just part of my non-negotiable for the day. That I'm not willing to compromise on, and I'm not willing to sacrifice because it's for me and it makes me feel better. So, also you have to get clear what values and principles guide you. So these are all kind of get clear, thinking about, what's important to me, what values and goals drive me, and what are some things I refuse to budge on. We all have those things that it's an absolute no-go. I'm not going to budge on these things. And so when we kind of think about those and we kind of brainstorm about those, now we can start to get a little more clear about what our non-negotiables are, that we're not willing to, and we all know, negotiate. If you give me this, I'll give you that. If I give you this, you give me that. It's one of those things that you say, no, there's no negotiating on this. Now from exercise, in the morning, I may have an hour, may have half an hour, but exercise will happen. It's not like, I'll get later today. No, it's going to happen in the morning because that's what best starts the day for me, and I know that. So that's a non-negotiable. But you want to get clear on the things that are important to you, you're not going to budge on, and that are part of the principles and values that guide you. So that's one. Second one is you want to keep current and get aligned. So what's it mean, keep current? Keep current means, yeah, we go through life, our life changes. Maybe we have kids, maybe we're a young married couple, maybe we're single, then you get married, or maybe you're a young married couple and you have kids. Sometimes those non-negotiables have to be tweaked just a little bit, and they have to be altered a little bit because we have to keep current. We can't, as parents, we can't always, it's not always about us. Of course, the kids have to be taken care of and all that, so it's not like I would be able to just run off to the gym if I had a little toddler running around with nobody to watch them. There's just some things you can't, that's not possible. So then it becomes, okay, I have this situation. Now I'm going to make this a non-negotiable. How am I going to go about it that it falls in line with my values and principles and it is safe and those types of things. So we have to keep current. Also we have to, when we're keeping it current, is it still aligned with our values and principles? So we're keeping current, but we always have to remember, our values and principles over time, they change. I know for me, my values and principles now are different than they were when I was in my 20s. And I think a lot of us could say that as we get a little older, some of those things change. And as those things change, our non-negotiables will change. Because we want to keep current. What I might have said was a non-negotiable at 20 is different now at 45. It's a little different because I'm in a different stage in life. I'm in, as my dad always says, we go through seasons. And this is a different season of my life. So those, I have to keep current, and the non-negotiables change just a little bit. So we have to first get clear with, creating a non-negotiable. We get clear. Then we have to keep current and get aligned with that. And then the third thing is, and these are the big ones right here. This is the big one. This is the one where this is really getting to it, and this is really making a commitment. You have to communicate and take action. So what do I mean by communicate? Communicate, you know what it is. You know what your non-negotiables are. But communicate to those around you. For me, it's, Kim knows that I'm going to exercise in the morning, whether it is, for leaving for a trip and we'll have to be at the airport early. I'm going to go even earlier before we ever have to leave. That might be 2 o'clock in the morning, because I know we're going to be sitting all day. We're going to be traveling all day. She knows I'm going to get up early in the morning, whether it's during the work week, on the weekend. She just knows that I'm going to get up and get that done. And so we've communicated about that. We've talked about that. Now, sometimes I'll tell you, hey, it takes a little bit. Early on in our marriage, I communicated that, I wanted to get up and exercise. Sometimes that doesn't always go over so well. It's, hey, stay in bed a little longer. Let's keep warm, those type of things. So it takes some work sometimes. It's not like I'm telling you this is how it is and that's how it's going to be. There had to be a little give and take. But it wasn't non-negotiable. I might have to go a little bit later than I would have liked to, but still, it still happened for me in the morning. That was the first thing. So you have to communicate to those around you. Maybe it's family, friends, employers, whoever it may be. You want to communicate some of your non-negotiables so they know. Maybe it's friends and you don't stay out past 9 o'clock. So they want you to go out, to the club, out to eat, whatever it is you say, and they know, come 9 o'clock, you're out of there. You're going home, you're going to bed, whatever. You're not staying out late. It's during the week. They just know you got to get your 8 hours sleep, 10 hours sleep. And we all know those people that say, hey, I got to get 10 hours of sleep a night. If I'm not home by this time, I'm just a zombie the next day. So we know if we go out with those people come, 9:30, they're gone. They're leaving. They're going home. That's a non-negotiable. And we have to take action on those. We have to make those habits, and really non-negotiables are habits. They're habits that we do on a daily basis or weekly basis that we don't wiggle on. They're going to happen. We're not going to negotiate with it, but we have to take action. And nothing gets in the way. Maybe something comes up, but we work around it, but that still happens. And so it's still extremely important that happens. When we have non-negotiables, because it makes us successful in the future. And every day of those non-negotiables, day after day after day, helps us to long-term success. But if we get clear about it and we keep current and get aligned and we communicate, but if we never take action, then all of it's for nothing, because anybody knows, hey, why don't you stay a little later than 9 o'clock? Oh, okay, I will this one time. Now it's no longer non-negotiable, because you just negotiated that, yeah, if you push me hard enough or you say certain things, then I'll give up on my habit. I'll do whatever you want me to do. So we have to take action, and we have to stand firm by our non-negotiable for our long-term success. Because that is because we all know the times we give in, and you give in a little more, before you know it, that's not a habit any longer. It was a habit, but now you have a new habit of not following through. So you always have a habit. It just is up to you about what type of habit you want. Are you making an intentional habit? Or are you not really paying attention and just letting it happen? So just to go over those three strategies to create your non-negotiable is, one, be clear. Be clear about what you want, what's important to you that you're not willing to budge on. The second one is keep current and get aligned. Keep current with your changing seasons and keep it in line with your principles and values. And the third one is communicate to those around you, and of course, take action on your non-negotiable. So I always want to give you strategies each week in our conversation that you can put into practice right away. Those are things you can create tonight, and you can start your non-negotiables tomorrow. You can start your new non-negotiable habits tomorrow. You can start them even as soon as tonight. So next week, I'm excited about next week. It's one of my favorite topics. I've talked about it a little bit before, but next week is how to be a poo and a piglet in an Eeyore world. And we know a lot of Eeyores in our lives. We know a lot of Eeyores in the world. So we're going to talk about some ways that we can be poo and piglet in an Eeyore world. So I appreciate each one of you dropping by, have a little conversation with me this evening in my favorite corner in my office. So I hope each of you have a great evening. Hope you have a great weekend. Anytime you want to have a conversation, just drop me a line. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Also, I just want to mention too, if you enjoy our conversations on Monday nights, we do have a mastermind group that we meet via Zoom that I do post on our VIP page, our link there. I usually post it on Monday sometime during the day. But we'd love to have you in our mastermind group that we go into deeper ideas, deeper thoughts that we really dive into that will just move our mindset in a different direction and give us different thoughts and different way of thinking. So again, I appreciate you stopping by the corner, having a little conversation with me, and I'll see you next Friday night as we talk about how to be a poo and a piglet in the Eeyore world. Have a great night and have a great weekend.